The moment rarely makes headlines. No press conference. No highlight reel. Just a quiet transaction line scrolling across the screen. Designated for assignment. In the grand machinery of a contending franchise, this is how dreams are moved aside. For the Toronto Blue Jays, an offseason defined by ambition and aggression has created casualties. And this time, the name attached to the roster math is PAXTON SCHULTZ. This is not a story about superstardom. It's a story about margins, about timing, about what happens when a team reaches higher and someone else loses their footing. Because when Toronto signed KAZUMA Okamoto, the move signaled power, intent, and urgency. It also triggered an unavoidable consequence. The 40-man roster is unforgiving. To add, you must subtract. Schultz was the subtraction. A right-hander who lived between worlds in 2025. Too valuable for AAA, too replaceable for permanence. An AAA pitcher, baseball's most uncomfortable label. The kind of player organizations rely on quietly, until they don't. PAXTON SCHULTZ was added to the Blue Jays' 40-man roster in April. From that moment on, his season became a series of phone calls and plane tickets. 5 separate recalls from Buffalo, 5 chances to prove he belonged. 13 appearances, 24 2/3 innings, a 4.38 ERA, a 4.07 FIP. Numbers that don't scream dominance, but don't whisper failure either. And then there was the debut. One night that felt like a promise. 8 strikeouts, 4 1/3 innings. History. Schultz tied a major league record for most strikeouts by a reliever in a big league debut. For a brief moment, the margins disappeared. He wasn't depth. He wasn't insurance. He was the story. But baseball is relentless about context. The fastball sat just under 94 miles per hour. A cutter, a slider, a changeup. No single pitch that overwhelms. Instead, a profile built on execution, on whiffs, on restraint. A 27.4% whiff rate. A walk rate that stayed under control. Useful, dependable, replaceable. That final word matters more than fans like to admit. Schultz wasn't supposed to be here. Drafted in the 14th round by the Milwaukee Brewers in 2019, his path was already narrow. He arrived in the Blue Jays system almost anonymously, acquired as a player to be named later in the second Derek Fisher trade. No spotlight. No guarantees. He started as a starter, then became a bulk reliever, reinvented himself in Buffalo. In 2024, the results stabilized. In 2025, the door finally opened. But when Toronto's front office looked at the roster this winter, they weren't asking who deserved it. They were asking who fit. The Blue Jays are chasing something specific now. They've tasted the World Series. They've felt how close the summit is. They've felt how close the summit is. Every move since has been about leverage, power bats, multi-year commitments, win now certainty. Depth arms don't survive that phase easily. Schultz's profile makes him interesting to other teams. He misses bats. He doesn't hand out free passes. He's shown he can survive in short bursts and extended roles. For a rebuilding club, or one desperate for pitching depth, that's value. Which is why the waiver wire looms large. There's a real chance PAXTON SCHULTZ doesn't clear it. And if he's claimed, the Blue Jays won't lose a star. They'll lose something quieter. Flexibility. Familiarity. A pitcher who knew the system and accepted the role no one dreams of. But this likely isn't the end. It rarely is. Designations for assignment are dominoes, not conclusions. If Toronto keeps adding, and all signs suggest they might. Schultz may only be the first name moved aside. The roster still has pressure points, decisions still to come. That's the hidden cost of contention. Every addition creates a shadow. Every upgrade demands a sacrifice. For Paxton Schultz, the offseason didn't end with celebration or failure. It ended with uncertainty, waiting, watching waiver claims scroll by, wondering if another organization sees what Toronto could no longer afford to protect. This is the business side of baseball, stripped of romance. Not everyone loses because they weren't good enough. Some lose because the team got better. And somewhere between Buffalo and Toronto, between opportunity and excess, Paxton Schultz's Blue Jays chapter may already be closing. Quietly, efficiently, without ceremony. Time will tell if this was the end, or simply the beginning somewhere else. What do you think? Should the Blue Jays have found another way to keep him, or was this the inevitable cost of chasing more? Let the debate begin.